Every attempt they had made to settle down had ended badly, until finally they had given up trying and accepted their wanderlust. Along the way they had worked at almost every sort of job to make ends meet. Every now and then they had even found themselves on the wrong side of the law. But right now they wore badges, which was mighty uncommon in their checkered careers. Despite being handier than most with guns and fists, they had hardly ever been peace officers. More likely they'd been disturbing the peace. The peace of Silverhill was about to be disturbed, all right. Like most mining boomtowns, this could be a raucous, wide-open place, but there weren't many gunfights on Main Street in the middle of the day. Bo hoped there wouldn't be this time either, but he wasn't convinced of that, not by a long shot. Bo and Scratch came to a stop about 20 feet away from the trio of hard cases. The one in the middle, who had long, greasy red hair under a black hat with a Montana pinch, clenched a thin black cigarillo between his large, horse-like teeth and growled, "We heard the law was on the way. What in blazes do you old bellikins want?" Scratch said, "We want you boys to unbuckle your gun belts and let 'em drop. Then hoist those dew claws and march on down to the jailhouse. You're under arrest." "Under arrest?" the redhead repeated mockingly. "What for?" The second man, short and stocky, with a walrus mustache, said, "It's probably got something to do with that piano player you plugged, Bugle." "Shut up, Tater," the buck-toothed redhead snapped. The third man, who had the gaunt, hollow-eyed look of a lunger, said, "Now you've gone and told these law dogs your names." "We already knew who you are, Scanlon," Bo said. "There are wanted posters for all three of you in the files in the marshal's office." "So we wouldn't have been inclined to just let you right out of town anyway," Scratch added. "But killing a man, well, that sort of leveled it off and nailed it down. You're going to jail, all right. And then, in the due course of things, to the gallows, I expect." Tater looked up at Bugle and said, "See, I done told you we ought to start shooting as soon as we seen 'em headed this way. Now it's going to be an even break." "An even break?" Bugle said. He seemed to like to repeat things. "How in blazes do you figure that? These two old fools ought to be sitting in rocking chairs somewhere instead of being about to die in the middle of a dusty street." "Oh," Bo said, "I don't reckon we're quite that old." Bugle's sneer twisted into a hate-filled grimace as his hands darted toward the guns on his hips. Bo snapped the Winchester to his shoulder. He had already jacked around into the chamber before he and Scratch started down here, so all he had to do was squeeze the trigger. The rifle cracked. Bugle's head jerked back, and the cigarillo flew out of his mouth as Bo neatly drilled a slug an inch above his right eye. The bullet made a nice round hole going in, but blew a fist-sized chunk out of the back of Bugle's skull when it erupted in a pink spray of blood and brain matter. He went over backward, with his guns still in their holsters. Beside Bo, Scratch slapped leather. The Remingtons came out of their holsters so fast they were a silver blur. The cadaverous-looking gent called Scanlon was a noted shootist, but Scratch shaded him on the draw by a fraction of a second. That was enough. Flames shot from the muzzles of both Remingtons. The .44 caliber slugs hammered into Scanlon's chest and knocked him back a step just as his fingers tightened on the triggers of his own guns. One bullet plowed into the dirt a few feet ahead of Scanlon. The other went high and wild. He caught his balance in trying to swing the guns in line for another shot, but Scratch, with time to aim now, calmly shot the gun wolf in the head. Meanwhile, Bo was realizing that he might have made a mistake in shooting Bugle first. The short, dumpy Tater didn't look like he'd be much of a threat when it came to gunplay, and Bugle was the one who'd shot and killed the piano player and the Silver King after all. But while Bo was busy blowing Bugle's brains out, Tater drew an old Griswold and Gunnison .36 with blinding speed and thumbed off a shot. Bo felt the heat of the round against his cheek as it barely missed spreading his brains.